We are forced to have means. You must live within your means. You have them. How did we get them? What is your dangling carrot? Something that drives you, or is it something that somebody else uses to drive you? Do you have an inner carrot, I guess? I'm looking for answers of what is it like to be stubborn as a mule? What happened there? The camp of the saints needs this lost antiquitech, the Trump, Trompe, Trump, compressed air from water. I've got a lot of information on that and how it could have solved all of our problems, but it wasn't as easy to make money from. If you wanted to sell electricity, that was a big deal. Welcome, everybody, to Mudflood was Armageddon. That's right. Mudflood was Armageddon. Don't let them tell you anything else unless they're willing to debate in a fair and honest way. I have to stick to the routine of what I got going here. Let me get rid of some of these and see if that. I would have. I know I didn't close off that thing in my mind, but obviously I did. I was looking for the disclaimer. It's not where it's supposed to be. Not even close. It's usually right here. So there's that, stumbling along as per usual. Not too many downloads today. Did it take Tucker Carlson? Did it take a journalist like Tucker Carlson to blow the lid off of the assassination attempt in Pittsburgh, Butler, Pennsylvania? Did it take him, or did everybody know it? But when the world wants people to think he deserves the credit because he's a Roman Catholic that, really promotes everything Rome. Here's that. How come they didn't use the hydraulic air compressor? That is what a trompe, another word for it is. Well, electricity was a more marketable form of energy than compressed air. That says it all right there. Let's see. The air from that compressor to run rock drills in the mines of Cobalt, Ontario, and everything else in town. I found a book from 1888 that had some medical and other illustrations. 1888. This is a lot like and was in the area of the hydraulic pressure. So they got that. Now that can't be sculpted. That has to be 3D printed. You saw the thumbnail. How good were they in 1888? That's when this guy supposedly made that statue. It's a type of, well, when I looked at this means an illusion, and it kind of is spelled like a trompe. They're showing you how to do it. It changed a little bit. The pool is a little different. You can see the pool is, but it's still a picture of a mud flood thing. It's what happened in the world. It's what you need to know. This is another thing from the 1550s. How to make a flat roof look like a dome. You just paint it. These type of people did it. They say, "Hey, what's up, you guys? Not much. Painting." This is the dam they built in 1911 so that they could do a compressed air hydraulic system. You use the water to compress the air and you run the town. Cobalt. Hey, look at this. Somebody thinks we didn't build this world. This is one of those dubbed Russian ones. These flags, they know what countries they're talking about in their hidden history. They know what supposedly Christian families, these are all related. They know who these are. 1400s. Look at the back of the coin. Look at it. He believes he can fly. Where's the date on this? I know that there's a funny letter, like in ether. Anymore? I guess I really wanted to make sure I didn't forget this part. Jeremiah chapter 10, at his wrath, the earth quakes, the nations cannot endure his indignation. Thus shall you say to them, the gods who did not make the heavens and the earth shall perish from the earth and under the heavens. Wow, that's a new one I was kind of looking for. I need to think about that and tie it in later, right? I'll read verse 11 again. Thus shall you say to them, the gods who did not make the heavens and the earth shall perish from the earth and from under the heavens. That reminds me of Psalm 82, where it says, hey, you other Elohim that didn't create things, you're going to die like men. It is he who made the earth by his power, who established the world by his wisdom, and by his understanding stretched out the universe. When he utters his voice, there is a tumult of water in heaven, and he makes the mist rise from the ends of the earth. He makes lightning for the rain. If you ever wondered why, and look, there's Tucker Carlson. I just, when he is subliminally advertising mystic visions of Mary, he's a straight up full-blown Opus Dei. Now, I hope that we were sharing that. Hola, what do we got here? There he is. How about that? We're in California. Look at that thumbnail. That's a good one. So Colorado Springs, the power stations, the first Tesla power stations were built around the time of 1911 when they could have been building hydraulic compressed air plants to run it. They built these instead because they could charge money for it. This is still working in Colorado Springs. They actually mean Manitou Springs.
Over for the citizens of Colorado Springs. Clean electricity. Hydroelectric power is one of the most used renewable energy sources in the world and produces about 20% of the power for the world. Hydropower is from 70 to 95% efficient. It uses every bit of energy in that water to produce power. Colorado Springs was green before green was in. It's been part of our system for over 100 years.
That was cool when he said it 16 years ago. They were green before it was a thing, man. That's not the oldest one, but you can see the oldest one. I guess in 1911, they wanted to do an homage back to the Stone Age of the Golden Age of Christ, and they built it.
Plant, all that distance it drops makes pressure. That high pressure and the water flow acts against the turbine, which spins the generator. Power's made in the generator, goes out the power lines and down to Colorado Springs. Hydro came along about the 1880s. Colorado was one of the birthplaces of it, but the ideas...
It was the birthplace. It was the experimental birthplace, more than likely. And they found it, and they cleaned it up, and the machine still works.
Or you can come up on the Cog Railway.
You missed the part about it's a few miles away, a 2.5-hour drive, or
hour car drive to get here, or you can come up on the Cog Railway. So we're very close to town, but it's hard to get here. What's neat about Ruxton, it was the world's first fully automated hydroelectric power plant. It became unautomated.
It's still working. They're using it today. They could have used compressed air, but they know it's easy to make electricity. Hey, they're redacted.
Is that the Democrats are selectively releasing emails, as they very well might be. Well,
Right.
then you should get on board with the effort to release the full files. So
Right.
if they can't do that, why?
Right. You're giving them all
what's
the
the
cards.
issue?
Right. You're giving them all the power when you're just refusing to release anything, because then they decide what comes out and when. When they get their hands on something, they sit on it, they can curate it, and they can do what they want.
Yeah. So apparently, this is how his friends talk about him behind his back. Kathy Rumler, Trump is so gross. Epstein, worse in real life and up close. Rumler, hard to imagine.
Because they have to turn on him. They built him up before your eyes, and now they're going to tear down an idol. Here's that near Manitou Springs, near Colorado Springs. Just bring it in and drop it off. Clean it up. Power the town. Trick people into coming out here. It's a reset. Here's another one. These guys, the power of South America, Central America, continent, South America. 33-degree Freemason helped the Spanish Empire. There's always one, right? Upper class family, educated abroad, lived in Spain. Of course, he had to learn the Enlightened. The Mexicans, the Spaniards, the Peruvians, the Colombians, anyone that worked with Spain, I want to look at you when I tell you this. Any of the people that worked with Spain, the survivors today are like the survivors of the white people. They were complicit. This was a mass wipeout and cover up. And the survivors of Mexico today, their ancestors were complicit. Oh, we like the Virgin Mary. Don't kill us. We will work for you. Yes, we will. Just like we are the orphan train remnants. They didn't, our white parents didn't get lobotomized or institutionalized, rubbed out, did they? They didn't get punished for crying out, why are you killing them? These 33-degree Masons were telling us it's our country. Everybody's got a father of their country. That were big news, big deals in their day, getting their Phrygian caps, living in star fort cities. Not pure white, but white enough for them. They didn't care. They believed they were going to make it happen. Not the only one. This is the guy from Mexico. Same story. Learned from the French Revolution. Oh, so he procured the liberation. Sure he did. For good old Venezuela. I thought this was the guy from Mexico. 1812. It's not one thing at a time. This is one massive reset. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to have proven conspiracies where these guys, and the early teacher was also involved. What'd they do? Killing people in Trinidad. Anyway, they are all Freemasons. Here's a little Bible. No, I ordered subscriptions for everyone. Am I not logged in? I'm going to show you how you should be able to log in. So that's saved here. So you can log in. I bought a bunch of these things. Let's go back to that Bible verse. You can see 6979, 6979, as she wells up, as she wells up. Plundering violence. Let's read it. The English Standard is how I normally listen, read along with. As a well keeps its water fresh, so she keeps fresh her veil or her evil. Violence and destruction are heard within her. Sickness and wounds are ever before me. This says, as a well gushes water, she spouts evil like a fountain. And I couldn't see it, because this is only used a few times. Destroy all her children. I have dig and drunk strange waters. The valley of vision, breaking of walls. And then 2 times in Jeremiah. Something to think about, something I'll be thinking about. I had to look up something. Because in that Bible verse, I closed it too fast. Because in this Bible verse, you can see there's a left out word here. All the words are numbered, except they didn't number this word. Leave it. What I like to do when I see that, I'll search that word, put it in the search bar, and it came back this. But is this what they're spraying in the air for the chemtrails? Boron? How is this pronounced? Is it even the same thing? But that's the Jewish word that's something bubbling up. I don't know. Thought it was interesting. Thought you'd want to think it. So I was showing Joaquin how as late as the 1930s, the United States, the company that became Chiquita Banana and Dole, they were cutting off people's hands. I had a hard time finding the pictures of it, but found some of the pictures of them picking it. Vlogging, it says. But anyway, I found one of the pictures of them cutting off the hand. Looked up the hydraulic compressors. Read an article about it. Have it pulled up here. Compressed air CAD. So this is something that the PhDs, a review for the case for modern day adoption of hydraulic air compressors. That's like the ragged chutes. That's where falling water puts bubbles in the air and you can power a town for free. Interesting peer-reviewed paper. A hydraulic compressor straight up, they're just not going to give a lot of information, allowing the air bubbles to separate. No pictures, just some math. I'm sure if you look if we just did this, well, let's put down eBay. Couple $1,000, $5,000, $6,000. You can buy one. They make them. They're not, it looks to me like they're a little bit over expensive. Look at somebody retrofitted that one. Good work, guys. More Bible, anybody? I have appointed you to examine my people like ore, so you may know and try their ways. I have made you, Jeremiah, a tester of metals among my people. They can talk about building up gold, silver, and precious gems. Somebody's going to have to test it. That was Jeremiah. Here's another Bible verse, something to think about. Like a cage full of birds, their houses are full of deceit. Therefore, they have become great and rich. Wow, okay, they've grown fat, they grow sleek after a while. He causes the vapors to ascend, clouds. The leaders, the princes, you know I'm on one word out of the 134, 8 times Nisalim, 12 princes. She's going to have Sarah. Vapors, he causes the vapors to ascend. They're like clouds and without rain, and wind without a purpose. Judgment comes with the clouds sometimes. 10:13, when he speaks in the thunder, the heavens roar with rain. He causes the clouds to rise over the earth. He sends the lightning with the rain and releases the wind from storehouses. You're either in or you're out. Hey, does this dome globe earth have storehouses for the wind? Compressed? Possibly. Definite maybe. Jeremiah 10:7. Who would not fear you, O King of nations? See, Satan's trying to establish the nations. He couldn't deceive the nations anymore, so he had to get those nations rebuilt back up. That doesn't make him omnipotent. That title belongs to you alone. It's talking about Jesus. Among all the wise people of the earth and in all the kingdoms of the world, there is no one like you. His name is power. Power, power. Okay, so I did read it. I saved it because I wanted it to read it. We already read it. Our Lord, great above all the gods, our Lord's great. He makes the clouds rise to the end of the earth. He makes lightning for the rain. Neo-colonialism, banana republics. Boston Fruit Company, multinational, took these companies over. Now, I have a book written by a PhD from Tulane University, very prestigious university, all about the history of Honduras. I got that book, kind of expensive. It doesn't mention United Fruit. It mentions the CIA 4 times, maybe. It mentions Standard Fruit 1 time. Neither good or bad. How do you do the history of Nicaragua? Get a PhD where you're set up for life now, like I'm the peer review expert on Nicaragua, and you don't talk about the neo-colonialism, how the CIA infiltrated the student unions, not only in that country of which my teacher is an expert, but all of them. It was the CIA knowing how to infiltrate and then doing it. And academia, they ignore that fact. Where I wrote out a question that said, what type of a circumstances can lead up to a meeting of the Central Intelligence Agency of the United States, and one of the people saying, maybe we should get that one girl, I forget started the whole third wave feminist. She used to work for Playboy. Turns out she was a CIA asset for all of those years. And my teacher goes, that's bad history. Oh, really? Okay. Maybe it's a different history. That doesn't mean It's an evil history. That's for that much we know. And these guys did it. And when you talk about the Boston Fruit Company, Standard Fruit Company, that became Dole. United Fruit Company became Chiquita Brands. Chiquita Brands started as United Fruit Company, which the United Fruit Company was ran, they inherited the Mudflood buildings. Is that a Mudflood? Hey, look at us. It really was 1920. It's downtown, New Orleans. Build a town in the middle of nowhere. Cut off people's hands if they don't pick bananas fast enough. Everything's brand new. Who ran this company? Where's your history of your aiding and abetting a terrorist? Chiquita pled guilty for aiding and abetting terrorist organizations. They had banana wars. Contributed to the energy crisis. The general strike, was that instigated by the CIA, their wildcat strikes, having to do with some workers working for another banana exporter? What was U.S. Secretary John Foster Dulles doing there? Well, he was on the board of United Fruit. These guys did it. Dwight Eisenhower was on the board for United Fruit, Chiquita Bananas. They wanted to make money. Alan Dulles, he was the president of it. Dawes Plan, you heard of it? It's all one setup. They even faked atomic weapons so that they could claim that they could go to the moon. This company founded it, Dole and Company, one of the big fives, established in 1851 to do that. They make up these names, they fill it all in, and it leads to, we got the bananas, and all because of water power, but not compressed air free energy.
He was quite small. He had seen a picture of Niagara Falls and decided that he could harness that power.
He was a 19th century individual, a Serbian American, born in this Victorian era, whose brain lived far in the future. And he was so far out with his theories and his experiments that he wasn't much of a success. People really couldn't read this guy, Nikola Tesla, because he would come up with experiments about time travel and about communicating with other planets and pocket size.
And about how he wouldn't let a woman into the room if she was wearing pearls and all kinds of weird stuff we're supposed to believe. Look at me, I did it. There's people that think he's a god in the Atlantis mudflood part of this movement.
Go online on a Sunday afternoon and they come out with their picnic lunches and their buggies and watch Ames, generate the first alternating current electricity. So it was quite an exciting time for them.
People on horseback.
You can't move around on those roads in the 1880s. You could barely do it today. Take your family out for a picnic. It takes 2.5 hours to get from Manitou Springs to Ruxton unless you had a train. And the people were going out for what? Oh, look, they're making electricity. So when you look for the biggest bell in Africa, they give you this guy, King Bell. I was looking for that big picture of the big bell in Africa. Men play volleyball. It's a big sport in Europe. The net's higher. They jump higher, they're stronger. And yet in this country, there's an argument still that if a man calls himself a girl, he should be able to play on the college volleyball team against girls. Anyway, you can't find that big bell. I had a video where it was showing it. Oh, here's that another 2-mile city that had electricity.
Businessman named Horace Tabor realized that silver was even more abundant in the soil than gold. The miners began to trace the silver-rich soil to its source, and a new city was established.
Mining was the start of Leadville. These miners knew what they were looking for.
This was called Cloud City, the rare elements. And lead was one of the things that greased the cylinders for the Industrial Revolution, the steam power. You know, those pistons, they could add lead into the steam and it would, you know, it doesn't wear out. 2 miles high, summers lasting how long?
I think often you hear the story of just dumb luck of miners not really know what they're doing, but these people knew what they were looking for, and sure enough, they discovered really rich silver.
And she works there because her great-grandpa was one of the compliers. He did it. He lived there, you know.
The miners' work was much more dangerous back during
Silver each month.
Why is it so low?
The miners quite a lot of money. It ultimately drove down the value of the silver. When it was
They drove down the value of the silver exactly in time for Guggenheim, who just happened to be in Leadville as a smelter and a mine owner, sold at the top of the market in 1893, and then it crashed. But he took all of his money back to New York City and became a robber baron. The Guggenheim Museum of Art, he used his daughter, Peggy Guggenheim. She actually paid an artist $100,000 to go to bed with her because he didn't want to because she was Jewish. But he did for the $100,000. Jackson Pollock, does that name ring a bell to any of you guys? Because she was determined to make art stupid. Mission freaking accomplished.
Church of Scientology. L. Ron Hubbard recorded an album, Space Jazz. It's the official soundtrack to Battlefield Earth. Yes, it includes saxophones and intergalactic vibes. Six, Children of God. Sweet pop songs with a dark agenda. Music was a tool for recruiting, often sung by children. Catchy and creepy.
All right.
Fifth Process Church of the Final Judgment. They worship Christ, Lucifer, and Satan equally. Release spoken word records with dark, hypnotic music. Occult beauty with apocalyptic flair.
Yuck. The Sanborn Map Company, I did that last night. What's this? It's a book that has all the pictures. In case you ever want to go to, you know, look at this. Look at all the pictures in the Library of Congress. They had all the cities laid out by 1888. Here's Colorado Springs. The whole book. Let's look at it a little bigger. So they knew what the town was like. You know, did they find it? Did they not? I think they found it. Sanborn Maps. That's how we go back to the pictures. Wasn't one of the pictures, didn't it say how? You ever heard of Warren Buffett? Warren Buffett in 1958, that Sanborn annual profit was dropping like a rock. But he knew, Warren Buffett, that it was a good deal. So the stock was selling for $45 a share, but the investment portfolio was $20 more. That got the attention of a young Warren Buffett, and the rest is history. The miracle of Omaha, Nebraska. He pressured the company to distribute it to shareholders. He eventually purchased the rest is history. Their history. This is an old canal that somebody just filmed, like the Erie Canal, you know. Up there in Ontario. Somebody saw this and decided, you know what? I could build a dam here, a whole reservoir, drop a tunnel 100 feet, compress the air, and power the whole town. Oh, that news. Jeez. So I was kind of looking for a picture of that bell.
You're the psychologist who full of how history is written around the world. It's as follows. Any obscure building, the original purpose is simply ridiculous. Observatories? Installed on the pipes, the wires will be cut off, but the digital artifact is given a religious purpose, and it couldn't be any other way. Nowadays, bells have been invented to warding off evil spirits? Perhaps it actually attracts them? Let's also talk about something historians dislike, the feasibility study. Miracles never happened. Accordingly, bells cost a fortune. Incidentally, they often crack and cannot withstand to question the construction of religious stone buildings in the past.
How are they finding these in Asia, Africa,
Moreover,
everywhere? It was a worldwide.
The bell is attached with several clamps in two planes. This photo makes it clearer. The ends of the brackets are threaded, and tightening and securing is accomplished with nuts. Also note that the bell is not attached to a straight beam, but to a piece of timber, which is then attached with brackets to another piece of timber.
What's this? Oh, somebody wants to commission these things that hang on the wall, a mule mule harness. I guess mules are stubborn, so that's in the mix. Oh, I got a copyright problem, huh? That's too bad. Got to figure it out. So ragged chutes. This is one of those hydraulic power stations. It would appear the ragged chutes located there northeast of Ontario, commissioned, you know, get it up and running again in the spring of 1991. So it generates an average now of, you know, about 75% of what it can do. Turns out there were 17 of these things built, the Trumps. Here's some of them, and they're just abandoned, left out. But they knew it worked. They knew it worked. They could have done it. A Trump devised falling water to create compressed air. 2020, somebody else, you know, hey, look at this rediscovered air, rediscovered air. And in the meantime, they're finally going back to talk about Thomas Crooks on Redacted, something over a year ago. Not as, the Charlie Kirk has passed that up. But at the end of the show, it's time to, don't worry. Everything's going to be okay. If you have any extra money, invest it in this company. It's an easier way for them to search you.
Can process up to 700 people per hour without, this is the best part, without having to require them to remove their jackets, their shoes. You don't have to take items out of your pockets. And again, this is all part of that TSA mandate to improve security screening at our airports. And so Liberty Defense developed it. They even won a
Liberty Defense. So you have means live within them, but if you can expand them, because every time you gain in the stock market, that means somebody else lost. No kidding, Toad House.
2 hamburgers you have instead of buns, fried bread.
Dough. Okay, and the Navajo are obese people, and that is the reason why they eat fried bread.
Well, I can't help.
Can't help. Well.
A Catalan forge. This is no moving parts. We always talk about antique, technology, antique tech. Well, there it is. It's right there. It's always been there. I plan on using it somehow, some way. This is the name of that book, Household Cyclopedia. It was, something that he found in a bunch of recipes. This is where I got that stuff, Inflammation of the intestines, treatment, not too good, not a good idea. They really did not know that much about Jack, but they knew how to. What was that? Page 600. I think they had some pictures around here. How to prepare silver tree copper plates. Metallurgy. They knew how to do this. They knew how to make pig iron. They didn't know anything about how medicine really worked, but they knew everything about metallurgy. No, they found it. Again, with the ragged chutes thing. Ether force, compressed air. It's coming out. People are going to be talking about it, like, oh, I discovered it. They discovered it. Who discovered it? We can make it. Too little, too late. Because this is going to happen. This is the extra power. It was producing enough energy where it didn't need. It could just shoot off that much. Heads fed into one pipe, widened before the bottom. Ragged chutes. Compressed air.
This is a drawing showing the construction schematics of the Ragged Chute Air Plant built on the Montreal River around 1910 to supply compressed air to the numerous mines at Cobalt.
So that town made it work. And we're still trying to figure out how water wells up, stays fresh. All we really know for sure is they're dangling carrots. There is either real intent written on your heart to serve him out of fear, out of love, out of realizing we know our Father is love, but this is the judgment that was promised on, and it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a very narrow road. Suffering is called for. But it is a flat earth nation. Golden age is past. They added 1,000 years, faking all this history. No wonder you have, we don't like it. We got a mud flood orphan trained brain. Somehow the people we love, maybe our parents, grandparents, great grandparents, one of them knew a lot more than's going on. Every town had a Freemason hall, Roman Catholic Church. And they didn't even have Catholics couldn't even belong to country clubs until the 1960s, didn't have a president that was a Catholic until the 1960s. And now Candace Owen, Tucker, Charlie Kirk was going to be Roman. The Noahide laws are coming. They're dealing with Mormons and charismatics. You don't think they have another religion planned for the survivors of what's probably going to happen before the next election, the next presidential election? Big turnarounds next year in the midterms. It's not a matter of if or when it happens and all of our money gets reset to you don't got nothing. Do you want to be found in the mountains, prepared, where there's nobody around? Or do you want to find out now there's no money, no fresh food coming in, no water, and you're in the middle of Los Angeles or San Francisco or New York or Chicago or even Peoria with 500,000 people? Is that where you want to be? Because that's where you will be. And the people that you drew a line in the sand and said you're going to protect will be looking to you. Maybe you'll survive 2 or 3 deadly assaults on your house. You won't survive them all. Please think about that. Remember, this is a day that the Lord has made. We can rejoice and be glad in it. We know there will be eternity. There are people that will be saved, changed. Their name is in the book of life. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arrivederci. Ciao. Sayonara. Auf Wiedersehen. Nakaman. Adios. That's how I like to say goodbye.